Welcome to Freddie the Golden Doodle's Hyper to Calm Board and Train program. Yes, we use the reward marker yes, which indicates to Freddie that food is coming. So the moment you hear us say yes, we are marking the exact behavior that we are rewarding. Please continue to use your reward systems of food, affection, praise, and play. And these videos you will see every time we use the word yes, it is followed by a food reward. Positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is adding a reward, a reinforcer, to your training protocols. We use food, praise, affection, and play. Negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is removing all rewards until you get the desired behavior that you are looking for. So you remove food, affection, praise, and play. And with that, you will see us remove ourselves from the equation until we get the desired behavior. You will see this with leave it and take it, with the door protocols, as well as the jumping up protocols. And a very important note when it comes to negative reinforcement, when you're working with a dog who is prone to frustration and impulse control, we have to be very careful in the timing of our negative reinforcement, removing ourselves. We also have to be very diligent on making sure we're doing a lot of positive reinforcements for the behaviors that we do want. If we just do negative reinforcement and remove things from the dog, they're going to get very agitated, very frustrated very quickly. So we need to make sure that our positive reinforcement for the behaviors that we do want, the repetition for those, the consistency that we are rewarding those is much higher than the number of times that we do a negative reinforcement. Freddie, 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 the name game. The name game is really important for a dog like Freddie. When Freddie first arrived for his board and train, it was incredibly difficult to get Freddie to respond to his name and engage with us. Freddie would choose to go off and engage with things that were more interesting than us, which could be a stick or a leaf or a sound, a dog. It could be really anything happening in the environment that was not us. We were just not important to Freddie. We were not fun to Freddie, and he did not really care about engaging with us. So we introduced the game Name Game, Touch, and Find It. Now, the name game is where we pair his name with a food or a fun activity. So Freddie loves affection. So we use food, affection, and also play. We would say his name, Freddie, and we would pair it with food, or we would throw a toy. We would say Freddie, and we would if he responded, we would shower him with affection. So those three things worked very well to get Freddie to respond to his name. We also introduced touch. So touch is hand targeting, where Freddie will boop his little nose and touch your hand. It's an excellent recall game. It took Freddie a little bit to warm up to it, but he's doing really well with his touch now. We also do Find It, where we toss the food and we have him go find it. And Find It can sometimes be a nice double reward because he gets to chase something which he loves to do, and then he gets to eat it. So it can be very rewarding for him. We pair these things together, and we really encourage you to play this game with him in the evenings with his kibble, or in the mornings. His name, give him a piece of kibble. Touch, give him a piece of kibble. And Find It, give him a piece of kibble. He loves it. It builds engagement. You can make this game progressively more difficult by moving room to room. You can also do it from person to person. You can go upstairs and downstairs. There's also different things that you can do by saying his name and doing a collar grab. You can say his name and do the tunnel, where you toss a treat in between your legs, and he's got to go between the tunnel to go get the treat as well. So please keep working on engagement with Freddie. It's important that he feels that engaging with people is rewarding and fun, and that he wants to engage with us. Freddie has came to us with almost no impulse control. If we asked him to leave something, it was actually comical because it was such a struggle for Freddie to actually leave something. So we worked continuously on having Freddie leave a piece of food. We would present the food in our hands. If he were to go to get it, we would close our hand and say, leave it. We did this over and over again, so Freddie understood not to touch things from our hand unless we said to take it. So leave it and take it go together simultaneously. At first, we did it with our hands. Then we also did it by putting the food on the ground. We also did it by teasing him a little and moving the food around over and over again so that he had to control his impulses
Leave
for
it.
jumping and leaping for the
Leave it.
food and wait until we said take
Good
it.
boy. Good. Leave it. Good boy. Good. Leave it. Okay. Still leave it. Leave it. Yes. Good boy. Leave it. Leave it. Okay. Good boy. You're moving away. There you go. And down. Down here. And down. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Still you're leaving here. Awesome. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. I'll give you this. Take it. Leave it. Leave it. Okay. Take it. Leave this one. Good boy. Yes, take it. Leave this one. Okay. Take it. Good boy. Still leave this one. It's moving. Dropping. Good control. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Good control. Take it. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Freddie. Yes. Impulse control. Leave it. Leave it. Yes. Good. Leave it. Yes. Good boy. Take it. Yes. Good boy. Leave it. Leave it. Good. Leave it. Yes. Take it. Good boy. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. Leave it. Leave it. Good. Leave it. Good boy. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. I know it's really, really hard. Leave it. Yes. Good boy. As soon as look away and mark it. Leave it. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Leave it. Yes. Good boy. Take it. Awesome. Good boy.
Freddie, watch me. Freddie had a really hard
Ready?
time when he first came paying attention to us. So, one of the things that we do is every single time Freddie makes eye contact with us on his own free will, we mark it yes and we pay. By using a reward marker like yes, it allows us to actually capture moments and reward Freddie so he knows that we want that behavior to happen. We also put that behavior on cue by taking a lure, a treat, up to our face, and when Freddie looks at it, we can mark yes and pay it, and we can name it Watch Me. So we worked a great deal on having Freddie look at us, watch me while we walk, while we train, and which basically cues Freddie to make eye contact with us. And this is what we can use in distracting environments. Now notice every single thing that we did with Freddie, we started indoors. We moved to the yard and then we moved out to local parks. Freddie was not able to train outside and provide and offer these behaviors and learn these behaviors in a distracting environment. He was far too hyper, and we really needed to decrease the distractions in order to have Freddie learn. Now, the other thing with Freddie is you will see he does quite a few different stress gestures when we are training. Freddie will stop and scratch a lot. And this is a disassociative behavior. He's basically feeling a little bit pressure. He doesn't know what to do. So he will often sit down and start scratching while we are training. And this basically for Freddie is saying, hey, I don't really know what to do. This is stressful for me. So what do you do with that? You make sure that you're listening to Freddie, seeing what's making him be stressed, and make sure your training is fun and rewarding and encouraging so that he wants to engage and it's not stressful for him. Confidence building,
Yes.
calmness,
Yes.
and brain games. So, confidence building
Okay. We
is
have
putting
four
Freddie in
more.
situations that he wouldn't normally do, climbing onto
Good
things,
boy.
having him balance on items, having him use his body in a different way
Yes.
than just the traditional
Good
walking,
boy.
running, and leaping around that he does. So, we use confidence
Yes.
building
Good
to
boy.
help build
Good
engagement
boy.
and build their self esteem and also for fun. So when dogs are receiving rewards for doing something nice and simple and fun with their their body. It builds their confidence, builds their self-esteem. It builds consistency that they know that we are going to reward them. It also wears out their body and it wears out their mind. So we often pair confidence building with enrichment. Enrichment would be what we use with Freddie in terms of the wobble Kong, the Omega treat ball, the Kongs that we stuff for him with treats to keep his mind busy. These are all things that will build Freddie's confidence and also build his ability to problem solve and to be able to make decisions and use his mind in a different way, which when he came to us was basically he was just 100% silly until he crashed. So now we've been able to teach Freddie on how to use his brain in a different way to solve problems, which is very mentally tiring for him and very satisfying while building his confidence. Let's go. When Freddie arrived, he was leaping on leash, biting the leash, showing a lot of frustration on his leash. So we worked with Let's Go. So when we do Let's Go, it tells the dog that we're going to change direction or pace. So anytime we have tension, we will do a 180 and say Let's Go. In conjunction with that, we also add in that you are free, go sniff. And we want them to know that there are times to sniff and there are times that we need them to walk with us and stay at our side. So we use Let's Go to reward position. We will do a 180, and like I said, if there's tension, we will say Let's Go. It means it's time to walk. When they're walking beside us in that position, we'll reward position. We always reward eye contact when they offer it. And then we will also have breaks like this, as you see, where we're encouraging Freddie to go out and go sniff and enjoy the surrounding areas. And this will help avoid frustration. It also tires them out and helps him feel a lot more confident in the environment that he's in. And then, of course, he gets to be a little bit of a silly self. Engage and disengage. Disengaging is often paired with rewarding calmness. We want to reward Freddie always, first and foremost, if he looks at us, is paying attention to us, is sitting or lying down. We want to always offer rewards for that. But when Freddie starts to see a distraction, that a bird, if he sees a dog, we want to reward him the moment he looks at the dog and then or the bird and he comes back and looks at us. So if he's able to disengage from seeing and sighting those distractions, we want to reward him for that.
Good boy. Leave it. Freddie, good boy. Yes. I'm very impressed. Yes, good boy. Yes, good boy. Yes, very good. Good boy. Freddie, leave it. Let's go. Yoo-hoo. Freddie, let's go. I have to hold this just in case if he lands. I'm going to break my neck. Let's go, Freddie. Leave it. Leave it. Let's go. Come on. Come on, Freddie. No, no chasing. No chasing. You did a really good job, okay? So, let's move on. Come on. Good boy, yes. Good boy. So I see off leash is coming. Freddie. Yes, you can hear me. Good boy. That's awesome. Okay, let's go. Sit. Freddie, hip. Sit. You have to disengage. Focus on me. Good boy. Yes, good boy. It's not that Eiffel party, right? Good boy, yes. Yes, good boy. Yes, let's go, move on. Yeah. Oh, no. No running. Settle down. Settle down. Good boy.
Rewarding calmness. Rewarding calmness is so critical for Freddie. Now, with Freddie, we had to start rewarding calmness indoors. So every time he made eye contact with us, he sat or lied down, we would reward. One reward for eye contact, multiple rewards in a row if he sat. If he sat, we would say yes, 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 and we may give him 5 or 6 rewards in a row. Now, as you see here in this particular clip, Hiroko is waiting for him to offer eye contact. So she's first starting with baby steps. Let's just wait to see if he can make eye contact with us first. When he makes eye contact, she's going to mark and pay. The next step that we started to work on with Freddie is if he lied down or sat and gave multiple rewards. Now we had to do this inside, then move it into the yard, and then move it out on the street. Now for Freddie, it's really not fair for Freddie to set him up with outdoor training when he doesn't have the basics down inside first. So it was a lot of repetition inside in the yard, front yard, and then out on the street because he was far too hyper to be able to be calm in an outdoor environment. So now that he understands that eye contact is rewarding, sitting is rewarding, and lying down is rewarding, he's more likely to offer it outside in the front yard and at the park. This is the basis of what we took outside to work on passing people, passing dogs, being calm around other people moving.
Very specific. Wait. Set. Yes, good boy. Leave it.
Rewarding calmness is critical for Freddie. It also is critical that he become habituated and socialized outside with the environment versus completely overstimulated. So with Freddie, we were able to move it outside to parks. Now we would sit on a bench at a distance away from the foot traffic, away from dogs, bikes. And then as he progressed with his skills and being able to focus on us, we gradually became closer and closer to what we call the stimulus. So the bikes, the dogs, the people. And then we were able to start introducing Freddie into greeting people calmly. So this is a very important part for Freddie to be calm in an environment he needs to be habituated. To throw Freddie in the deep end and expect him to be calm outside is just not going to happen without doing the base work of inside the backyard, the front yard, at a distance, and then getting closer and closer. Freddie, go to your place. Go to your place is a cue which we call calm on command. We have to build up for Freddie to really understand this cue and build up the distance, how far we are away, the duration, how long he can stay, and the distraction. This cue is critical to practice this and work on it daily as part of Freddie's daily life. This gives him a job to do. It helps eliminate the counter surfing. It helps eliminate the destructive chewing and the boredom. He is very proud of himself to go to a place. So anytime he chooses to go to a place on his own, that's where we shower him with affection. We also use place as a fun place to go. So we'll ask him to go to place, we'll bring out toys, we'll release him with his release work break, which tells him his job is done. And then we will play with him and have tons of fun with Tug, tossing toys, and then we'll ask him to go back to his place. So we work on interval training. We also work on place with Freddie because of his frustration when he can't get to another dog or see another dog or another person, his fear of missing out on any excitement. We use place where we continually increase the stimulus around him so that he can be calm. So in the beginning, you may have to tether Freddie to the place, not directly to the place, but tether him to an item and then have him go into his place so that if he breaks his place, you can easily get him back to it.
Yes.
You can also have his leash on, his
Yes.
harness, and
Leave
grab
that.
his leash and
Leave
direct him
that
back
noise.
onto his
Yes.
place. So
Good
we first
boy.
build,
Yes.
okay,
Good
this is your place.
boy.
This is how long we want you to stay
Boy.
there, and we reward duration. This is what Freddie does in the morning before breakfast. He does it in the evening before dinner as well. And this is what I do to shoo him out of the kitchen and go to his place. So anytime I am in the kitchen preparing food, Freddie is shooed out and asked to go on his place and stay on his place. The key to this is to make it highly rewarding. So every time we increase the challenge of distance or how long he's on there or distraction, we make sure we're using high value rewards with a high frequency of rewards. The videos of us teaching plays
Yes.
can be
Good
quite
boy.
comical because, as you
Good
can see here
boy.
with Hiroko, we start to add
Yes.
in some
Good
silly nonsense
boy.
behaviors of us jumping around, being silly, and this is very similar to what we do with the jumping up protocol. So if Freddie breaks like he did here, Hiroko's going to get his attention, put him back on. She can also
Good
choose to put a leash on
boy.
him and bring him back to the place. And then
Yes.
she will start to increase how silly she is around him. Now here you can see Carol, we've introduced Freddie's kryptonite, another dog. And now you can see where she is giving Freddie continuous rewards. You can see the proximity of where Carol is. She's staying nice and close because this is a very difficult behavior for Freddie to see George, his BFF, running around and playing. She's also chosen to tether him so that if he gets up and runs, because he's got a fair amount of space here, if he gets up and runs, she has a bit of control to be able to grab the leash quickly and put him back on. So here we start to increase. Oh, and there he broke, and he thought, okay, I'm going to play with George. And Carol's got him back onto the place. And now we've got George going. So she's going to give him multiple rewards here. She's giving him freeze-dried raw, super high-value food so that he wants to stay on here. And he can learn to be calm around something that's exciting, which is very hard for Freddie, again, because you have that lack of impulse control, the frustration intolerance, and also his FOMO. He really does not want to miss out. But overall, Freddie did great. We increased the skills over and over again. It requires a lot of repetition so that he can start to work on his staying calm all the time. But the foundation work has been started. Overall, Freddie is a very loving boy. He is just has a zest for life. So here you can see he's getting frustrated. She's getting back on, and now you will see where she is now giving him. She's got a handful of treats. She's given him about 3 there in a row, and she's making sure that that is very rewarding, and that the rewards are coming quickly, so that he is not losing interest in staying on. But very challenging for Mr. Freddie. Lots of repetition here, and this is something that you're going to continue to work on. Now, if we remove George and we just have us and we're throwing the ball and we're using toys, he is much, much better at this. When we add in another dog, like I said, this is his kryptonite, so this is the Olympic level. So he is actually doing quite well with this. Good job, Freddie.
Good boy. Where's the ball?
So how do we tackle all this jumping up? The jumping up is a combination of impulse control. So that starts off with calmness, waiting at gates, waiting at doors. It also works with leave it, drop it, take it, because as they have to leave items and not grab them from our hands, we only give them items when they're sitting or lying down. It reinforces that they must be calm before they receive something exciting. We do not leash them unless they're calm if they jump up. Now here you can see where Carol has started to entice Freddie to want to jump up. So Freddie's only going to, or Carol is only going to come back and reward Freddie if he stays calm. The crazier and more excited she gets, the calmer we want to expect Freddie to be. So what we're doing here is enticing him to jump up, and he realizes, oh, they're going to go away, not pay attention to me at all, and the game completely ends. Their affection ends, the toys end, all of their play ends if I jump up. At first, this was so challenging for Freddie, and we have put numerous hours into this to have Freddie understand that Jumping up does not pay. It is a ongoing process for Freddie. So you're going to need to put a lot of work into continuing all of these steps, the door protocol, the impulse control, at the gates and the doors, the leave it, drop it, take it, as well as making sure you're not moving forward unless he's calm, capturing rewarding calmness, and then setting up these types of scenes where you're encouraging him to jump and rewarding him when he doesn't, whether it's on the other side of a baby gate or tethering him to an item or doing it back and forth with your partner. Now, as for greeting people on the street is very hard for Freddie. This is Olympic level for him. So we spent hours out there on the street rewarding calmness with Freddie. If he sees people walk by and he doesn't interact, we reward him. If he sits for greeting, we will move closer and we use the cue, go say hi. When we move forward and we say, go say hi, if he gets excited and goes to leap, we take 3 steps back and say, off, let's go. We'll wait until he sits and is calm again. We will reward the calmness, step forward again. If he's able to stay calm with all 4 paws on the ground, we will move forward with go say hi, and he will move forward into a greeting. Freddie is able to do this. He dances around, he wiggles around. He is able to keep his paws on the ground, but it absolutely still takes rewards with freeze-dried raw food so that it is high value. It is very challenging for Freddie. If he cannot do it, we must back away and move away from the people. We can't let him continue to practice to jump on people. He's been jumping on people for a long time, and it takes a while to extinguish this behavior. But if you keep going with all of these facets, you will solve this problem for Freddie, and he will have a better life because he will have access to more people. Now, one thing about Freddie is he loves affection, but he is overwhelmed when strangers give him affection. So he will do a perfect greeting, come up, we'll ask him to sit, he'll sit for the greeting, we will reward him. As soon as they pet him, they jump up. So what we found to counter this is to take a handful of treats. Once he's sat calmly for greeting, put it down on the ground and say, go find it, if the person wants to pet him. Then he can accept the pets while he's eating the treats on the ground, which makes it a lot more challenging for him to want to leap up. However, my recommendation is do not let people pet Freddie. It's too overwhelming for him. He becomes too excited and he jumps up. So just say, yes, you can say hi. He's in training. Please don't pet him. He gets too overexcited. And if they don't listen and they pet him anyway, you're going to say, let's go, and take 3 or 4 paces back and put him in a sit until he's calm. Don't bother with the person saying, oh, it's okay, I don't mind, I'm a dog person. And all of those things do not matter. What matters is the consistency for Freddie. So please do not let people pet him at this time. You and your partner and members of your family can do this exercise where you drop the treats on the ground and pet him and build that up so it becomes less exciting for him. But if he is going to see a stranger on the street and they try to pet him, he will jump. So don't allow it to happen. Be proactive, get his attention before, put him in a sit, and reward, reward, reward. Thank you so much for bringing Freddie for a board and train. He is our absolute pleasure, and we are going to miss him.